haven't done this very many times, but okay. But welcome to second Saturday Satsang, where together we Zoom. And Satsang means, of course, to sit in the company, it means in the company of truth. So we come together to sit in the company of truth and to study spiritual principle, to raise our vibration, to clear our energy fields, and gosh, don't we need that in these days, and heal the world and ourselves by raising our vibration and to connect with community. So this meeting will last only 1 hour, and after meditation, there will be an opportunity to share and ask questions. And somebody asked me if you could share the Zoom link for this if you want to. And the answer is yes, of course you may, but please don't publicize it. I don't want trolls or anything like that, but just if you want to one-on-one share it with somebody that you know, that's absolutely fine. So far, this is just it's by invitation only. So today's theme is Diwali, and you'll see that I have all these candles lit. Today is Diwali in India. It's the biggest festival they have, the biggest religious festival they have. It's kind of akin to our Christmas and our New Year's also, because Diwali is the Hindu New Year. And it's the festival of lights. Isn't that amazing? And the lesson of Diwali is so amazingly appropriate for this week that I just thought it was, I mean, I planned to do this, but I didn't know how amazing it was going to be. So we're gonna celebrate Diwali with our Indian friends. So how many remember the poem? I don't have it with me, and I meant to bring it. The poem "The Guest House" by Rumi. Does anybody know that poem?
I remember it.
You remember that poem? I didn't have it with me, but it's basically this being human is a guest house, and every emotion that comes in is something that is a guest in our home. And we welcome all those emotions. We welcome all those guests, even though some of them come in and sweep our house clean of furniture. And are not pleasant to be with. We welcome all of our emotions, and because they are guests, and the name of the poem is The Guest House. But I want to say that I know that some of the guests can be exhausting, right? It's like my Aunt Anne used to say. She used to say, after 3 days, fish and house guests begin to stink. But still, we welcome them, and we forgive ourselves for having them, or inviting them in the first place, for having them. So they are to be welcomed as a guide to our understanding of the reality behind temporary existence. They are kind of like pain and pleasure to our skin. Let's say you touch something really soft and beautiful, it's pleasure, or you touch something sharp and it's pain. Those are signals to your body to act in a certain way. And in the same way, emotions are signals to our psyche to steer clear and or examine and or approach and or look at very closely. They're all coming and going, and there's a season for everything. In the book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, and also the 60s song by the Birds, to everything there is a season, and for every purpose under heaven there's a time, right? There's a time for planting and harvest. There's a time for tearing down. There's a time for building up. And we, my friends, have just been through a major tearing down, I think. We may not be entirely finished with it. In fact, I'm fairly certainly are not. But we are, ladies and gentlemen, entering the time for building up. And many of us yearn to go back to the way it was in the before times. But think of this, the before times were exactly what developed into what we have just had. So maybe we want to try something different. Maybe we want to build something different. No, that's one of the reasons, and not to get into politics, but I really resonate with the Build Back Better um, um, saying that the Biden campaign were using. So inappropriately, we are right now under a new moon, which symbolizes new beginnings. And isn't that perfect? So what do we want to build? And who would you like to decide what we build? Would you like it to be the self-interested among us? Or would you like it to be the light workers among us? Light workers, almost by definition, are those who work for what's best for the whole, not just for themselves, but for the whole. And isn't that what we want? And if we do, instead of grumbling about the darkness in the world, we need to support and celebrate the light. And it just so happens that today is Diwali, a holiday that explicitly celebrates the light. Diwali it signifies the beginning of the Hindu New Year, and it's an apt message for 2020. It's all about the triumph of good over evil. It's welcoming new beginnings. It's light overcoming the dark. And wouldn't you know, Diwali always falls on the new moon, which is the symbolic time for new beginnings. It's a time for healing. It's a time for forgiveness. It's a time for a clean slate. It's a time for the light getting into all the dark corners and showing us ourselves. And doesn't that sound perfect for right now? I thought we would briefly look at the primary myth behind Diwali and examine it for meaning in our current lives. Rama. Rama is the god of truth and virtue. And he's believed to have been an avatar of Vishnu, the preserver of life. And he was actually believed to be an historic character who was then said to be an avatar of Vishnu, the preserver of life. And Diwali commemorates the return of Lord Rama from a 14-year-long exile and the vanquishing of the demon king Ravana. Now, Lord Rama was the perfect avatar of the supreme protector Vishnu, and he was the most popular symbol of what we would call chivalry and virtue. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, he said, Rama is the embodiment of truth, of morality, and the ideal son, the ideal husband, and above all, the ideal king. And as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is said to have taken birth on the earth in order to annihilate evil forces of the age. And he's widely believed, like I said, to be a tribal hero of ancient India whose exploits were they form the great Hindu epic Ramayana. That's the romance of the Rama, and it's written in the ancient Sanskrit by an ancient poet whose name Valmiki or something like that. Anyway, in joyous celebration of the return of the good king, the people illuminated the kingdom with earthen oil lamps, and they set off firecrackers. And to this day, the Hindu faithful celebrate him during Diwali, the festival of light. Ravana has been banished along with the negativity he brought, and the kingdom of God is able to come. Lust and anger and greed and attachment and ego, callousness, giving excuses, deception, jealousy, all these things have been banished by the light in this festival. Now, obviously, we know that none of those things are banished forever. But I think might be something here we can relate to in these times. You know, as I said, I didn't plan it this way, but some might make the obvious connection to our current politics. But there's more here. It's talking about a never-ending spiral as humanity evolves closer and closer and closer to the light. And we keep going around the same circle over and over. So sometimes people get discouraged. Well, there's always a backlash. And, yes, there will be. But if you notice, it's always, the cycle is always on a slightly higher scale. A slightly higher scale. I think of, for instance, when Barack Obama broke the glass ceiling of black man in the presidency. It was such a huge thing, and there was a huge backlash, of course. But now we're kind of almost we're kind of, the idea that there's a black woman is not as startling to our inner habitual self who says things should be like this, our inner unconscious habitual self that says things should be like that. Because when we react to something like that, if we're conscious, it's one thing. If we're not conscious, we think our feelings are the same as our destiny. I remember the first time I realized that the feeling I had was not destiny, when I thought I was falling in love when I was early life. It's like, just because you feel that way today doesn't mean you're going to feel that way tomorrow. I remember the first time I recognized that. But there's a lot of unconsciousness in our approach to what should be, right? There's a lot of unconsciousness in that. And when we get those feelings like, oh, that doesn't seem right, then we think it's not right, and we don't examine it. We do. Those of us who are in the light, we do. And it's our job to shine the light so that others have the opportunity to examine their own feelings as well. So that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of responsibility for us, but I think we're up to it. So what are the spiritual principles we can take from this celebration? And how can we, as Westerners, as Western disciples of the light, incorporate this beautiful festival into our sadhana, our spiritual path? Well, Diwali is a time to reflect. It's a time to make changes for the upcoming year. It's like I said, it has a resonance to our new year when we make resolutions. And there are 6 areas of practice associated with Diwali, and we're called upon to forgive and forget. That's one. Give and forgive is the first one. The area of practice that we are to reflect on. Give and forgive. So when you look at those 2 words together, you can encapsulate it under the word generosity. Be generous with your resources, but generous with your time, but generous with your ego's need to be right at this moment, right? Generous and humble. Those are so important. The second one is rise and shine. The Hindus recommend that we rise before dawn. I would say that the other way to say that is get to work. Get to work. This is the time for building. And even if you work the night shift, even if you're a night owl and you sleep all day and work all night, you are a light worker, and it's time to get to work. Now, how do you get to work? Well, that depends on you. It depends on what your gifts are. Are you a person who can show compassion to people who are suffering? Are you a person who can listen when somebody says something that sounds so crazy without making them wrong? Whatever your job is, you are allowed to do it and encouraged to do it in your daily life. The third is unite and unify. This is my favorite because this is what I believe made me understand my sadhana better than any other thing, was when I understood for the first time that we are all one. Everything just fell into place for me. I understood that I could not hurt anybody without hurting myself. I couldn't help anybody without helping myself. This was what made things make sense to me. We are one. And if that light, if we shine light on that concept and help others understand that concept, then that makes us continue up the spiral a lot faster, continue in our journey toward God. Number 4 is prosper and progress. In other words, we're not rebuilding the old, but we're designing and constructing something new. So when you decide what it is you want and what you want to put your energy and your imagination is so magic, imagination toward, you want to imagine not the old days, but you want to imagine something that you haven't had before. This is part of our job as light workers, is designing and constructing something new, right? It's built on something old, but it's something new. We're moving up. We're moving up the spiral. Number 5 is illuminate your inner self. Illuminate, but not eliminate, but illuminate your inner self. Your inner self is your Mula Purusha, the thumb-sized, flameless, smokeless flame that is in your heart, that is the spark of God that enlivens you. So illuminate your inner self. All of the meditations that I have done over the last few years have had to do with going inward first and connecting with your inner self before you connect with others. Because that light knows with a capital Kana what the truth is, and knows with a capital Kana that you are connected to that other person that you're thinking about or wanting to connect with. So illuminate your inner self. Number 6 is from darkness into light, from darkness unto light. The light empowers us to commit ourselves to good deeds. It brings us closer to divinity. So overall, it's a time to heal and forgive yourself for everything and forgive everybody else for everything, right? So attention, light workers. This is a spiritual evolution, and we are ascending to the light. And when we ascend, we as light workers are on the forefront of that. So the evolution takes place in us before it takes place in the general public. And that is not always a comfortable and warm place to be, but it is an important place to be. And we have to remember that compassion is the same as righteousness. Compassion is the same as righteousness. Remember that, because as we evolve, as we see more than others maybe are able to see in this moment. And I don't know about you, I have family members that see things very, very differently than I do. But as we see things differently, we have to shine light and shine compassion and have humility. Those are the qualities of the light: truth and wisdom and consciousness. Those are the qualities of light. Truth, yes. Wisdom, yes. Consciousness, yes. And compassion. So that's Diwali. We clean things out and allow light into all the corners, right? So let's meditate together. I would like for you all to just find a place to sit that is where your body is supported for deep relaxation. Make sure you're on mute. That's right. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Let's breathe together. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it to the count of 7. And release through the mouth. Releasing, relaxing, letting go. Again, take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold to the count of 7 and release through your mouth, feeling your body release and relax. One last time together. Take a deep breath through the nose into the belly and hold it to the count of 7 and release. Feeling your body let go. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. I bow to the light within. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Shiva. We are one. To give is to receive. And everything is light. Thoughts and beliefs are a form of light. Bodies are a form of light. And the light continuum is unbroken, though it seems to be interrupted by time, by objects, by bodies, by distance. The energy continuum is unbroken, and there is only unity. You are made of the energy of love, the light of love. Feel that now. And imagine that you can see or sense that underlying substratum of energy into which all separation dissolves. The beautiful peace of unity. All forms eventually dissolve. Only the energy, the light behind creation, lives unchangeable. Finding your true self now, moving past your history and your behavior, past your name or your skin color or your upbringing, all the way into the energy, the light of your creation, the energy of your creator, the frequency of love. What would that feel like? Is it beautiful? Is it beautiful? Oh, yes. Be with that inside yourself. This is the very energy of God's desire for you. Still alive in you. As we rest in this beautiful attunement, we find ourselves knowing that we are one with the divine. To receive from the divine is to give to the divine. We are one. Think now of the first person who pops into your mind. Don't edit yourself. Maybe it's a friend or someone you think of as an enemy. Friend or enemy, all is form. And all forms eventually dissolve. And only the energy behind the creation lives unchangeable. The person you remembered now was manifested out of the impulse of creation. Tune into that frequency, that energy, that light behind the form. Beyond earthly memories of this person, looking inward and beyond. Tuning to the divine. desire that created this person. Yeah. We see that love. We see the love within you that matches that person's inner light. I see you both now as bodies of light, joining hands in innocence, as innocent as a newborn child is this creative thought that made you both as innocent as light. And that light between us as magnified with our conscious attention, magnified until it shines entire houses and cities and around our entire country, bringing with it many lights who now recognize each other. This light brings full knowledge of unity. Mm. This light, our light, is like falling in love. It's like quenching a great thirst. In truth, we do drink from the fountain of everlasting light of which Lord Jesus spoke in the Christian scriptures. It is a fountain of light. And we bask now in this light with our brothers and sisters around the country. And as we do, our light grows brighter and more alluring until the entire human race takes notice. Oh, our light is enthralling. The light in each person's heart flickers in recognition. And these flickers grow into a greater radiance. And the choirs of heaven sing in joy and harmony. And in this moment, we know we are one. In this moment, we are attuned to the energy behind the form. In this moment, we are love. No matter the lives we lead, no matter the beliefs we've held, no matter the mistakes we've made, it's only in the illusion of form that we call each other enemy. All forms eventually dissolve, and only the love behind creation lives unchangeable. Yes, now we see the earth bathed in our light, and we know I see you, I know you, I believe in you, and I give to you that which is mine to receive from you. We are one. To my fellow travelers, I pray, please help me to love you as you need to be loved. And the greater spirit, we ask, to the greater spirit, we pray, grant us a beginner's mind as we approach our work. Amen. And so it is. And now come back to the room you're in and back to your body. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Mhm. Welcome back. Mhm. Now, I would love it if everybody would unmute and let us know how you're doing. Hmm. How about you, Priscilla Ishwari? How are you doing?
At this moment, I'm doing very well.
Oh, good. And what have you been experiencing?
I feel really good right now. But let me tell you what I've been experiencing now. Just not what I'm experiencing at this moment. But I have noticed that my ability to feel beauty has diminished. Intellectually, I can look at the forest and I see things that are beautiful. And I'm like, a while ago, this was a different experience. It's like, I know that's beautiful. I know the qualities that make up what I see as beauty, but I was feeling it, like something has happened where I've kind of forgotten how to have access to that feeling of beauty. And it was interesting just to be outside and see it. I'm not saying it's completely gone, because when I became aware of that, then it kind of turned a little bit for me and I was able to experience it more. I don't know if you've ever read the story, The Giver. It's like this community that they all adopted this sameness, and everything became like black and white, so everybody could be kind of the same. And I just felt like I was just falling into this sameness,
Oh.
So, but I'm working on it.
That's interesting you say that, Ishwari, because, it occurs to me in the story of Rama and Ravana, if he had stayed there that whole 14 years, instead of, Ravana coming to take over while he was gone, the people would not have had the festival of light, so to speak. They would not have celebrated. So there is something about experiencing something that's different, that makes us appreciate, even if we have the ability to, if we have the ability to notice what's wrong and it's hurting us, we also have the ability to notice what's right, and we can turn our head in that direction. So that's.
And what's really interesting about the whole Rama connection is that I guess about 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm really into Ganesha, as you can see, but it's like, I wanted so much to know. Yeah, I wanted so much to know about Rama. And I know, I understand the energy from a different, not intellectually, but from a mystical standpoint, I get Rama, you know what I mean? And I know when to use that energy to, to get some stuff cleared out. But I'm like, I need to know the story. And I've been told the story before, but I keep forgetting. And it's like, I want to know the story. I want to know the story. And then all of a sudden you're teaching the story. I'm like, well, thank you very much.
Isn't that interesting? Wow. Yeah, there's so much synchronicity right now, because truly, it sounds like what we've just been going through this week, and it wasn't intended, but it just is. There's a lot of synchronicity with what's happening.
And I don't want to monopolize the time, but I just want to say one more thing, is that I've noticed, there was a change of energy, of course, and it's still changing right now because of everything going on in our society. But I feel like it's like, I don't want to do things the same way anymore. It's like, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And it's the simplest little thing. Like, I don't need that, I don't want that. I don't need that. I want it a different way. And it's like, I'm ready for it. I wasn't ready to do things a different way.
Yeah. We really are going through a change. And how many else, who else has felt what she's feeling? Yeah. Yeah. So I did, me too. friends are falling away that I thought were friends, that not friends in my spiritual community, but friends that I have had years, but they've just gone a different direction. And there was no fight. It was just that something's changing. The energy, I don't feel the same to them as I used to, and they don't, apparently. So it's just, there's just like a lot of that going on. Yeah. Bala, what about you? I always love to hear from you.
Hello.
Hi. Plus we need a little bit of male energy in this group. You're holding down that corner.
Oh, thank you. All right. So the thing that occurs to me, what I'm getting is that I've been temporarily living without very much agency in my life.
Wow.
So I've been, I've been allowing myself to be kind of pushed and pulled, and even not only from external elements, but also just my own tendency to become like maybe obsessive around some things. So really specifically for me, like I've just been obsessed with finance lately, and to the exclusion of other things. Like I mean, like essentially, I think I've replaced a lot of my spiritual practice time with focusing on finance, and I think that impulse is fine, but it's a good time for it to be balanced. And that's where I'm claiming that agency to be able to balance the things in my life, regardless of the outside forces, right? Regardless of what's going on outside me, and then also regardless with what's going on, within me that maybe doesn't represent my highest good.
Well, we are happy to witness that in you, that decision and that change, and that. But I think you're right. It's like this, isn't it? It's like, this takes your attention, and then this takes your attention, and there is always it's like the energy of karma itself. It's always balancing. It's always balancing. And sometimes we overshoot the mark. We don't go like this. If we did draw a straight line, as Ishwari was just saying, we would pretty get pretty bored, be all black and white and whatever. We have to have some of that. But yeah, it's really easy to just stay in that place where we're obsessed right now and not see the balance. So we witness and applaud you in seeing that rebalancing in your life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll hear from you next month about how that worked out.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be wonderful.
Yeah. So what's been going on with anybody else? I know we've been all experiencing a roller coaster ride emotionally. How has that been for all of you? Anybody that wants to speak up can, or I will call on you, as you know.
I'll say something.
Okay, Kathy.
I've been going from the third to the fifth dimension, and sometimes, with everything that's going on in the world, and no matter, and I'm not going to get into politics, but no matter which way the election winds up coming out, there's a sadness in me because of just the amount of divisiveness, is that the right word?
Yeah.
In people, with the polarity, like the different sides. And sometimes I'll let myself get sad, and like Eric was saying, sometimes I think about finances. But then I've really, on the other hand, been getting into some deep meditation and really listening to like sound therapy, like binaural beats, and the different, the fifth dimension sounds and the God sounds, and that my third eye has been opening up. And when I'm listening to these, and sometimes I'll do it for over an hour, and what's been happening, and I don't know what exactly it is when my third eye opens, I start seeing images that I'm not thinking of them. They come to me and they're like faces, of things, and I don't know exactly what. I don't know if they're spirit guides. I don't know if they're from different planets. I don't know if they're people. I don't know what they are, if they're in my imagination, but these different images like pop into my head, and it's comforting. Most of the time. One time there's something popped in I didn't like, but I try to imagine that there's a ball of light around me protecting me, and that only positive and love can get in. So on the one hand, I've been really growing, and I've really been looking at different ways and what are places in the universe, that we're not the center of the universe. I mean, just, kind of some things that some people might think are wild, just life on different planets and all that kind of thing. And just identifying with some different things. And it's been really, really cool. And when I do that, I see my life and I see the world from so many different possibilities. Parallel universes, all that stuff. I'm just, I don't have a certain belief. I believe this or that. I'm just open to all the possibilities. And it's wonderful. But then sometimes it's almost like, and I feel like I'm really spirit, but then boom, I'll get in fear, and fear takes me right back into 3D, and I get into like what Eric was saying, those fears of finances and, different things here that really in the big picture are not what we're all about. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of where I've been.
My dog is barking. I keep muting. But it does make sense. I think that, finance is not evil. It's the way that we exchange energy in the world. It's not evil, but it is not, it is a very tempting energy because it also carries with it power. And sometimes it's the power that people are wanting. Sometimes it's just to pay the rent, but sometimes it's the power. So we associate it with evil because of the power association, the power over. Power is not bad either, but power over somebody, wanting power over somebody is not a pure motivation, obviously. But I don't think that finances are an evil thing, but I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. And I want to say Kathy is there are 3 people here who are going to be initiated on it's the 18th, isn't it? The 18th, the Wednesday night, the 18th. And 2 of them are here in Atlanta, and one we're going to do by Zoom. Since we are going to do it by Zoom, if anybody is interested in attending, you can let me know. And I don't know how we're going to set that up, but we're going to figure it out to do the initiation by Zoom. 2 of them will be in person. And then Aruna Dev is going to be initiated into enlightenment by Munishwarji on that night as well. So it's going to be a powerful night. And so if anybody is interested in Zooming in, please let me know and I will send you the Zoom link for that. So Kathy, I am not surprised that you're having these experiences. They are right on target. And I want to hear from the other 2 ladies that are going to be initiated because they are here today too. Winter is my stepdaughter, and I couldn't love her more if she was mine. And she's now going to be my spiritual daughter as well. And I'm so happy about that. And Raquel is, we met right before we stopped having the in-person satsangs. For about 6 months she came, and we've kept in touch, and she's just such a beautiful soul. Such a beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful to know her. And so these are and Kathy, we've been talking about this for a long time, Kathy Davis and I, and so it's a culmination of this, and I am just not surprised you're having these experiences, my beautiful Kathy. So what's going on with you right now, Winter? I want the community to know the 2 of you, especially since you're about to be inducted, as it were.
I mean, as you know anyway, because we've had so many of these conversations, but I've been feeling kind of in between. 1 minute I'm fettered and the next minute I'm not. And I'm feeling called to do something, but I'm still trying to figure out what that is. And I'm trying to find my balance with it. We've had, which Indira knows, but we've had just one of those years. It's above and beyond even pandemic and politics. You know, my daughter's had a brain tumor, had surgery for it. I've been trying to find my way to sharing with her the experiences that I've had, to give her some hope and a little bit of faith, because I've actually protected her so much from indoctrination of any kind of religious stuff that I've totally missed out on the faith part, because that's still there for me. So I'm having to, figure out how to do that. I live in an area that the large proportion of the population and we do not see eye to eye on a lot of things, including spiritual stuff. So I've been trying to be guided by spirit as much as I can, while also not knowing what I'm doing, in a way that I can still connect with the community around me, because at one point I felt completely out of place, and like maybe it was a mistake to be here. And I'm not feeling that now. I'm feeling like I'm here for a reason.
Mm.
And that I just need to kind of figure out how to follow this path and how to listen better for what I need to be doing. And some things are falling into place in a lot of ways too. So it's been just this really all over the place kind of year. And I feel a very strong urge to, excuse the language, but shit or get off the pot with some of it. Like, okay, it's just time. And open up your ears, kind of thing. And I want to say, like, while we were doing the meditation, I was still feeling all of those limits in different ways. Like there was maybe some walls up and stuff, and they were my own making. They, and I could feel that they were my own, and I was trying to figure out how to drop them and stuff like that, but I didn't do it consciously. And somewhere along the way, they all dropped and my head opened up, and I didn't just see stuff, I felt it. So that in this moment, that was exactly what I needed. Like the light came in and it hit my head and my heart, and it just felt like something lifted and it let go. And I feel lighter. So I'm super excited about the initiation. Indira has been my teacher for a long time, even before this. So it's in some ways just making it official, just like my wedding was a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah.
It was already there.
Too.
We
That
just
happened.
didn't give it a name. Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, this has been quite an eventful year. And a couple of weeks ago, Winter texted me and said, "How would you like to have a wedding at your house next week?" And it was, we put it together in a week, and yeah, it was wonderful. She had a Halloween wedding. They came as the Addams family, and I was a Druid priest.
It was supposed to happen though, like literally everything that we needed to fall into place that week just did. It all just went super smooth.
Yeah.
It was exactly what I wanted when I said I don't want everybody stressed out. I just want us to enjoy this, and that the fact that it all fell into place just like that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's when it was.
Yeah, she got a good one this time. She got a good one. Raquel, would you like to talk a minute? Because I want everybody to get to know you and what's going on with you, my love.
Thank you, Indira. Yes, I don't know if they can see my face, but that's okay. They can see it later.
She's beautiful.
Um, this meditation, I went to a very happy and bright place. And it's kind of the second time that I had this experience. I think I shared with you the first one. And I thought that I could meditate, but I am learning to get all the layers out and get into my heart. And it was a very lifting experience today. And I was very imbalanced, I got those emotions up and down,
Right.
and I think that it's not that they're going to go away, but I think that I'm more balanced. I think that, like we talked before, I want to do things in a different way now. And it just was a very nice experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and all three of you, I'm sure, are having experiences as you prepare for or as you prepare for initiation. Things start to happen. For me, I kept seeing who I now know as Lord Moria. I kept seeing his eyes, and I didn't know who he was, but every time I would close my eyes, there he was, and then later I was at the mystery school in Connecticut, and Radha had his picture, and I was like, that's him. That's him. But he visited me. Later, I read some of his, things that were attributed to him, and it was like, oh, no wonder he and I are just the things. He is my one of my most important teachers. He just is. It just made sense to me when I saw that, because I at first I had saved something from him. And I went back and looked at it later, and I thought, did I write this? I was like, no, this is not me. So, but we were very, very simpatico. But yeah, it's really interesting how things start to open up, isn't it? In distinctly different ways for everybody, but they start to open up. So we're going to be, the initiation is going to be wonderful.
Wanted to say thank you to Indira. You have been my light.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Anybody else have anything they would like to share? Ishwari, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself. Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I've been really missing having spiritual communion. I so miss having the once a week meetings where I know I can see a regular group of people, because I live by myself, and I find I've been feeling just really sort of a lot of negative emotions that I need to deal with, and I've been going to some therapy to help to deal with it, but I really need some help from my spiritual group to feel like I'm more a part, that I have a voice, that I'm seen and heard more, and because I've really been struggling with the darkness, with the dark side of my nature, and I need to feel more light in my life, more belonging, more a feeling that I'm seen and heard, and that I'm connected with people. I realize how important people are to me, because I'm so happy. Anytime I go out to the grocery store, I'm just so very happy to see people, and I look at them, I'm just filled with joy seeing these beautiful lights around me, and almost want to talk to people in the grocery store, and it's just so I'm needing to just feel more of that, really feel that truth, that in a sense I know we're all connected, but at the same time, living alone, it can be very hard to experience that at times. So I guess I'm sounding like a poor me, and that's not spiritual at all, I know.
course.
or
All the guests in the guest house are welcome.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I
Yes.
just want to thank you for your honesty, because you're not alone. I think everybody is going through exactly what you're going through, and you're not alone. I think that even going to the grocery store and having that joy of just seeing another person is spiritual, you know? So going to the grocery store can be a spiritual event. Like, it's not, you know, I miss hugging people. I miss touching people. I'm like, I cannot tell you, I'm going to lose my mind and hug everybody on the street when this is over with, because I just love touching. But, and I didn't know how much I loved touching until now, you know? And I guess sometimes when I get in my human, you know, holier than thou type of stance, sometimes I'm like, you know, I don't need to touch people in order to feel spiritual or whatever. And it's like not a good way to be. But I just want to thank you for putting that honesty out there, Ishwari, because you represent like millions of people on earth right now. So thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you. It's so wonderful to connect with you, dear Ishwari, my twin flame, my twin name.
Yes. And we
Say
can,
something.
yes, please do.
And Kira, I really miss you whenever you're ready, because Kira, she is my yoga teacher. And whenever you're ready to resume our classes, I'm ready. I'm ready to have that love from you, because you are such a loving person.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I've been feeling that one as well. Like our physical body has its own blueprint. It really does. And touch has been coming up again and again for me. I really miss being touched, just like hugged. I sometimes I go and scramble to get the kitty cat and like pick him up. He's not a lovey-dovey kitty cat, but I just need something warm and fuzzy to like snuggle with, or yeah, I need a massage, something. So it's completely human.
It is.
We are in a human body, and
Yeah.
that connection is important.
I would like for us all, because it's 11 o'clock and I know it's time. I want to really be conscious of the time, but I want us to all just hold ourselves for a minute and close our eyes. And we'll pretend for a moment that it's Ishwari and it's Kanika, or as you can see her called Jessica there, that's Kanika. And anybody else, we represent anybody else that's feeling that way now. We hold them in our arms. We feel the love that is in our own arms, and we feel the love that is given to us by the spiritual community that we love and appreciate. Thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for allowing us to love you. And thank you for allowing us to represent all the people who are lonely and hurting right now. We send them our blessings. We send them our love, and we give that which is ours to receive. Amen. So it is. This is I want to ask everybody's permission before I do this. I'm going to put this on the website, if it's okay with you. If anybody would prefer not to be recorded, tell me now, because I might put this on the temple website. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. All right. All right. Well, I love you all. I love you so much. Satguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jaya.
Vijay.